Hi everyone, welcome to SplunkGuru. So let's discuss about one of those key commands we use in Splunk. Uh, and I'm going to explain you the differences, the key differences between those commands. So today we are going to discuss about states, event states and stream states. And I'm sure you must have been using these commands. If not, after watching this video, you may see lot many use cases in your environment or in your day-to-day work where you can utilize these commands to get the data in the right format. So, I mean, the first command states, obviously, we all have been using it from quite a long time. And we all know, right? It gives us the aggregation of the data. So it basically aggregates data across all the events, whatever your Splunk base query is. Across all those events, it will just generate the states and return those states, right? So the states command, it's basically used to perform statistical calculations like use count, sum, average, min, max, right? So let's see that first. So I have some sample data ingested here. Not many events, but yeah. To walk you through on the concepts, I think these many events would be enough. So for example, we were talking about states, right? So if you do not give anything here, right? If you just take the cumulative count, it's giving you the cumulative count of the events, like whatever your base query is returning. So in our case, the base query is just index equals to min, and we can see that total events are 6. Now, if you go back to your events, so you can see we have a field called user, action, status, duration. So for example, you need the counts, cumulative counts by user, like for each user, how many occurrences are there in the data. So you can group by the results by clause and with the field which you want to use to in the group by clause. So by user, and you can further categorize it. So for each user, like for Alice, how many login counts, how many logout events are there in the data. So you can simply do that, right? And even similarly, you can use the other state functions, as I said, max, min, average. So all these things can be done using the stats command. Now moving to the next important command in the stat series is the event states. So event states, what it does, it provides, again, it provides you the aggregate data, but in, along with providing you the aggregate data, what it does, it adds those aggregated data values to each event. So what does that mean? And what's the key difference between the states and event states? So in states, right? In states, it actually removes the events and it provides you the aggregated result. But event states, what it does, it will provide you the aggregated data and will add that data to each event. So let's see what I'm trying to explain. So for example, if we will take event states count, and so now you will see that count field has been added to your data, right? Count 6. And even if you list down here now user and count, it will give that count field, right? Now, for example, I want to take the count by user field. So for each user, what's the total count, right? And now if I list down user along with their total occurrences in the data, we can just table that. So for Alice, there are 3 counts. Count by 1 second. Okay, when let's count by user, correct. So now let's take user and their count. So Alice is there. It has 3 events in the data, and for each user, you can see their total counts against each user, right? So for Alice, there are three events in total, for Bob 2 and for Charlie 1. So this event states field you can use in your further calculations. Basically, it aggregates the data and it adds those results back to your each event. So this is useful when you need both detailed event level data and an aggregated view, right? And it retains your original events without disturbing your original events. It adds the aggregated data to each event, right? So now we will move to the, or before moving to the stream states, for example, here, let's try to work further. So now take state count by user and okay, let's take the total count, right, as total user count. So like what's the total count, or maybe just the count as total count, that's it. And then by each user we are taking the count. So if you list, so we will take count by user and then the values of this total count. So for each user, for Alice there are 3 events, for Bob 2, for Charlie 1, and total number of events 6, right? So now if you want, you can calculate the percentage of user equals to. So what we need to do, obviously we need to just divide the count by total count. And it will give you the percentage of each user. So out of 6 records, Alice has 3, right? So 50%. So 50% events are for Alice, for Bob 33, and remaining 16, 70% for Charlie. So that's how you can use this event states field in your data. So the aggregated result will be added to each event in your data, and then you can use it in a further calculations, right? Fine. Then the last one is the stream states. So a stream, what do you understand from stream? Like streaming, like it's kind of a running data, right? So what it does, it provides you the running totals, running average. So it's moving aggregations, right? As your data moves in, the average, sum, count, all these aggregated field values will be changing. And the streamstats command, I mean, as I said, it computes running totals, moving averages, sequential calculations for each event in real-time order. So for example, if you got 10 events ingested, right, or 2 events ingested, you get the average based on those 2 events. But furthermore, if you get 2 more events ingested, your average, and even if you're using any other function, that calculation will be keep on changing based on the streaming of the data, basically. So like the events as you see in your logs, the calculation will be changing further. So to explain you in detail, let's try to use, and the command is simple, it's stream states. Okay, take stream states count by user first to start with. And now if you list down user and the count, right? You can see for Alice, it got one event first, for Bob first, for Charlie first, then the second record for Alice. So in total, it became 2 now for Alice. For Bob also 2. And then for Alice, there is one more event. So for Alice, now total has become 3 events, right? Now let's take the count as total user count, right? As so what we are trying to do now, we will take to by for each user, we will take the total user count. So for Alice, we know, right? 1, 2, 3, total 3. So total counts are 3. Similarly, for Bob, there are 2 events in our data, and for Charlie, just 1 event. So that's how we have total 6 events, right? And now if we want to calculate so now if we have to take the average of like running average, so that we can do even Streamstats. So there are 2 things basically. Now you can even use this field in your calculations, or if you do not want to do this, you can simply take this average of count by user Streamstats, right? So it will give you running average. So firstly, it saw one event for Alice. It calculated the average, and as the data flows in a sequential manner, it got second event for Alice. It calculated the average. For third occurrence of Alice, it calculated the average. So the stream state is useful for the computations where you want to see the trend of your data in a running manner, in a sequential manner. Like on the fifth event, what was for example, if we talk about data for a month, right, or for a year, so we want to see the running average of any financial number, for example. So like what was the average of that field in Jan month, then like after getting the data for Feb, how it trades, like whether it went down or up. So that way it's very useful to give you the totals or average on the running data. And the key takeaways from Streamstats, it's like it maintains a running count, right? Rather than aggregating all at once, like what we saw during states and event states, right? So that was like it was calculating all at once and then giving you the output. Unlike to those commands, states and event states, Streamstats gives you the aggregation on the running data. So I hope it's been easy to understand. And still, if you feel like having any doubts, just let me know in the comment box. We will try to discuss that in detail, and I will be happy to assist more on these commands. So that's it for now. I'll see you in the next session with some more Splunk useful queries, like the ones which we can use on a daily basis. Thanks. I'll see you in the next video.